Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Ilia Topuria. Ilia, a lot of Brazilians in the crowd. This is an amazing opportunity for you to show your greatness. You wanted to move up and become a two-division champion. Tomorrow night you have your opportunity. Give us your thoughts on what it means to fight Charles and what tomorrow night means to you.
You are going to see one of the greatest performances of all time tomorrow. Another domination, another finish. We are going to make history once again, so let's go. Turn in.
Good luck to you, sir. I can't wait to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming out.
Tonight, the Octagon ignites as Ilia Topuria faces Charles Oliveira in a high-stakes lightweight showdown. Topuria, undefeated and explosive, looks to prove he's the new king of the division. On the other side, Oliveira, Brazil's submission wizard and former champ, is ready to silence the hype and reclaim his throne. It's power versus precision, aggression versus experience. Topuria promises domination. Oliveira vows to finish. Their face-off was all respect, but when the cage door shuts, it's all business. Will Ilia stay undefeated, or will Charles rise again?
Charles Oliveira promised his 7-month-old son that he's going to bring the championship back home for him. You've already done it for your daughter. Is this the motivation you need to win the title?
Vai acontecer em nome de Jesus. Pronto pra essa história, tô pronto pra se tornar aí.
It's going to happen in the name of Jesus. I'm ready for the story. I'm ready to make history. Write this down. I'm going to be a champion again.
Do you feel bad that you're going to make him break his promise to his son?
That's why I don't like to promise to my kids those kind of things. He don't have to involve his kids in the professional things. He's going to have to break his heart.
Ilia's coming in very confident. He's doing interviews with 3 belts. He's saying that your style is easy for him to get a first-round KO. Are you confident that it's going to be a first-round finish?
I'm very, very confident.
Do you think he's coming into this fight too overconfident?
But I know he's coming in undefeated. He's coming in with that aura, with that vibe. He is a great fighter, but he's never fought a fighter like me. On the 28th, I'm going to be a champion.
What is it about his style that you think you're going to knock him out?
Because the time that takes me to knock out my opponents is the time that I need to close the distance. So with him, I'm not going to need to do that because he walks forward. He's going to stay in the middle of the octagon, and that's why I think that I'm going to be able to combine my punches and to put him to sleep. I'm going to finish him in the first 2 or 3 minutes.
Essa é a diferença. Dia 28 vocês vão ver quem é quem.
I had that confidence once when I didn't have a loss. But then you face somebody that's not going to walk backwards. I'm going to push forward. I'm going to walk forward. I'm the problem in this division.
Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira.
Topuria.
Charles is bigger. Charles has kicks, knees, elbows, great jiu-jitsu. But Ilia is just different, brother. This guy is special. And I think he's going to be a world champion at 155. He's going to beat Charles.
Knocked those guys out in featherweight before, and he did it. And he did it, and he made it look easy. And with Ilia, it's everything. It's his submissions, his kicks, his punches, everything. He can do anything. I mean, he does everything perfect. All his technique is perfect. He's fucking driven, and who's fighting Charles Oliveira at the end of the month. Like, that guy is insane. That guy's knocked out 2 of the greatest featherweights of all time, Volkanovski and Max Holloway. Nobody could knock those guys out in featherweight before, and he did it. And he did it, and he made it look easy. You know, he made it look like they're like he's just on another level from everybody. You know, and then now he's moving up to 155 pounds. He's like decided he cleared out that division. He's moving up. Like he's
insane. Yeah,
insane. There's guys like that are just so their level is above everybody else's level. And with Ilia, it's everything. It's his submissions, his kicks, his punches, everything. He can do anything. I mean, he does everything perfect. All his technique is perfect. And he's fucking driven and ultra confident. You know, this is an amazing time for the sport, man. It's a crazy time because these guys that are coming in with like one fight in the UFC, they look like world-class contenders. Like, right, Oliveira's a monster. People think of Oliveira as not being a monster because there's times that people have beaten him, but he got better. You got to accept that and not think of like when he lost.
Because so many people, well, who gets better at 35?
I don't believe he's 35.
No?
I think he's 33, and I also think that he got into the UFC when he was 20. But he came into his own over the last few years, which kind of makes sense. Like, he figured it out. And so part of the problem was like he was learning and developing and growing as an elite organization.
Quite fight week just yet, but it feels like it. You're here in Las Vegas, so how exciting is this for you? I mean, headlining International Fight Week, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. You were just getting into the UFC, and now you're at the top of the sport.
Very happy to be able to headline this kind of event. I remember I fought once in the preliminary cards in the International Fight Week. now that I have the chance to headline this event, I'm very happy and very excited.
You've clearly won a title before, you've defended a title before, but now going for a second title, is the mental challenge, is the thought process, the feeling, is it any different than those other championship matchups you've already had?
This is the happiest I ever have been in my training camps because of the weight cut. I have been able to enjoy the whole process, and I feel ready, man. I don't know. I think you guys are not even expecting to what you're gonna see on June 28th.
So a lot of us think like, you know, a move to a weight class, it's just the weight cut, it's just that week. Are you saying that you think this weight class change has changed everything for you and how you've been able to prepare moving into this fight?
Everything, because at the end of the day, that 10 pounds makes a lot of difference, you know, in my life. Because before I had to be like for 12 weeks cutting the weights. I haven't been able to enjoy like anything because I have to be like professional at the same time in the fight game and also in the nutrition part. So this time I have been able to enjoy the whole process and I'm very happy.
As happy as you are, is there any sadness that you don't get the opportunity to be the simultaneous champ? You know, the one belt over each shoulder, that classic iconic image. Are you sad that you don't get to try to accomplish that?
I don't care. Anyways, I'm gonna put the both belt in my shoulders.
Question for Ilia. Ilia, if you win the belt on Saturday, you'll become two-weight UFC champion in just 9 fights. What would that say about you if you're able to accomplish that in such a short amount of time?
That I'm the best. I'm the best fighter in the world. And it's not that if I'm gonna win the belt, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna knock him out in the first round. They always used to be like this, but after the fight, you know what's happened.
Now, you've knocked out Volkanovski, you've knocked out Max Holloway. You said you're going to knock out Charles in the first round. Do you enjoy knocking out these legends of the sport?
Of course, because if you beat legends after legends, you eventually become a legend, like Dana said.
You say that you're coming forward in this fight and you're the lion and you're going to bring the fight to him. He actually predicted that's exactly what you would do. Is there any part of you that thinks maybe I shouldn't play into what he expects, or does part of you think it'll be fun to prove that he can expect exactly what I'm going to do and I still manage to beat him at it anyway?
In reality, everyone knows what's going to happen. Is another dude that's talking that's going to fold in front of me.
Read on how Topuria versus Oliveira plays out.
Man, that's one where your heart's telling you, you know, Charles, and your brain's telling you Ilia. It's just that one's a coin flip. Can't count Charles out. Ilia's on an absolute tear. You know, Charles does get hit and Ilia cracks. That fight I am very excited for.
Ilia might get a bit of a fright at how big Charles is when he stands opposite him. Fighters do that with me, who fight at lightweight. You know what I mean? I'll never forget Bobby Green looking over at me and being like, "What? He's big, him." Same with Chandler. Like people thought Chandler was going to be bigger than me, and he just wins.
Minus 370 favorite Topuria is to beat Charles do Bronx Oliveira. Minus 370.
That is insane. That is not right.
To be the world champion that defended 3 times, has more submissions than anyone in UFC history, and he's a minus 370 favorite.
Who do you think wins, Ilia or Charles?
Interesting matchup. The both guys has changed. Like if Ilia hit Charles Oliveira head, so he can knock him down for sure. But I think Oliveira is so big for him and for all-rounder fighter, and I think Oliveira will win this fight.
You think Oliveira's gonna win? I haven't heard a lot of people say that.
I think so. He's big. It depends how his performance will be in the fight, because sometimes he looks bad, but sometimes he looks fantastic. So I think that in the ground he will be much better for Ilia. Especially like the gabarit is much different. Oliveira is big guy. Ilia is small guy. So if Oliveira catch him in the ground, I think this is gonna be big problem. But like I say, Ilia can knock him out for him also, you know. So this is like 50-50, but I think Oliveira will.
That's an amazing fight. Who you picking that one?
I think Ilia smokes him, bro.
He smokes?
I think he smokes him.
I don't think so.
It's a very bad matchup.
I think he's a way closer fight than you think. Why?
The odds makers have Ilia as...
Who is the odds maker, bro? Tell me your name. Who are these guys? Odds maker. Who's these guys, bro? Who's these guys?
These guys are the shadows behind the counter.
Made so many mistakes.
Of course they make mistakes, but like they're also right a lot too.
Очень известный сейчас боец. Ты с ним вроде как давно знаком. Он тренировался в Альстаре вместе, вот до еще его всей известности. Когда вот тренировки ты его видел, ты видел этот потенциал в будущем?
Ну, конечно, просто тогда, в то время, этот был он хорошим топовым бойцом в Брейве, как и я, мы оба там выступали. Видно было, потому что он такой пахарь и хочет добиться чего-то в своей жизни. И парень добился всех высот, которые можно в этом спорте добить.
That's heart versus brain right there. Your heart says Charles, your brain says Ilia. Ilia moving up. I don't think he's going to be... The reason you don't move up for the most part is because you don't want to... People are stronger. Physically, just a lot stronger. I don't think that's going to be the case in Ilia versus Charles. I don't think Ilia's going to... Charles is going to be that much stronger, but his frame's quite a bit bigger. But Ilia's he's probably his whole life been fighting people that are bigger because he's 5 foot. He's not a big stature guy. So I don't think that's going to necessarily be an issue.
Charles, he just stands so high. He has like this Muay Thai stance. He marches forward with knees. He whips head kicks. Both the guys like to come forward and back the person up. So they're going to collide. And there's ways. Ilia's so short. He tilts his head. He ducks his head. There's ways those knees could line up very easily and drop Ilia Topuria. But again, the way he stands so tall and the way Ilia punches to the body so well and then hides him and comes up top.
What if Charles got a head kick knockout on Topuria?
I mean, I wouldn't.
Little switch, bank.
Wouldn't be that surprised.
Right?
I just wouldn't. But that's gonna be a banger.
I typically look at, when you get two guys like these two that are very, very good, then you start looking at their defensive responsibilities and who has the larger deficiency. That's 100% Charles Oliveira. He's so hittable. Yeah. He loves to fight into wars. Ilia Topuria does not engage in bullshit. He's super crisp, very, very clean boxer, but goes to the body well, leg kicks really well, so strategic and so well thought out, and has an incredibly high fight IQ. I just don't know how Charles Oliveira stays safe in any kind of striking range, fighting the way that he fights with Ilia Topuria. I just think that he's going to get hit hard. He's going to get hurt. And I don't know that he can take down Ilia Topuria. And if he did, I don't know that he would out-grapple.
Ilia Topuria, given everything that he's done in the sport, the confidence that he's shown, the manifestation, as the kids say, but bringing it all to a reality, knocking out everyone in his way, doing it in absolute style, hardly breaking a sweat, not having to fight through any adversity, not being the hammer and the nail. He's just been the hammer, just hammering his way through everyone. If he beats Charles Oliveira, which I would assume that he's going to be the favorite to do, and that's with absolutely no disrespect towards Charles Oliveira.
His asset.
Yeah.
He's just and he just has no quit in him. He's just an animal.
Yeah.
And it's just like everybody just forgot about that old shit. Like, no, he's the man.
Yeah.
And they forgot about the Cub Swanson fight. They forgot about all these other fights. They forgot about the Paul Felder fight. They forgot about those fights. Like, all that fight. What is he capable of?
Now.
Oliveira's a monster. People think of Oliveira as not being a monster because there's times that people have beaten him. But he got better. You got to accept that and not think of like when he lost.
Because so many people, well, who gets better at 35?
I don't believe he's 35.
No?
I think he's 33. And I also think that he got into the UFC when he was 20. But he came into his own over the last few years, which kind of makes sense. Like,
Man, look at this fight. I think of this fight stylistically. I think, okay, the explosive power and the power in the hands, and it's crazy to say that. You have to go with more of Ilia Topuria, right? Ilia Topuria goes high-low. He can go to the body. He can go up top. He's been knocking people out cold. That means Max Holloway, 2 future Hall of Famers he knocked out. None of those guys went championship rounds. We saw him one time at 155 pounds where he did get hurt against Burns. Against Jai Herbert. But he got hurt. He got dropped. But the matador in him, he came back and he ended up knocking. Charles Oliveira is the bigger fighter. Charles Oliveira has fought the who's at 155 pounds. I mean, everything absolutely changes, man, with Charles Oliveira taking down Michael Chandler, with Charles Oliveira taking down Justin Gaethje with those beautiful double legs. But I will say this, when I think of this fight, I always think of the distance that Charles Oliveira brings, and particularly he likes to be in close. And the fact that he likes to be in close with an inside fighter, it doesn't make sense. That was one thing. The person that needs to make adjustments in this fight, typically you would say the lighter fighter, the smaller fighter going up, but not really. Charles Oliveira has been dropped by just about everybody that he's fought, from Chandler to Gaethje to Islam. I mean, what happens when you go up against a dude that's knocking people out, not TKOing people, knocking people out cold like Ilia Topuria? So when I'm looking at this fight, I'm saying Charles Oliveira is the guy that has to make those adjustments. If not, it's going to be the double champ. It's going to be Ilia Topuria securing himself as a 2-division world.
I would say Ilia Topuria, given everything that he's done in the sport, the confidence that he's shown, the manifestation, as the kids say, but bringing it all to a reality, knocking out everyone in his way, doing it in absolute style, hardly breaking a sweat, not having to fight through any adversity, not being the hammer and the nail. He's just been the hammer, just hammering his way through everyone. If he beats Charles Oliveira, which I would assume that he's going to be the favorite to do, and that's with absolutely no disrespect towards Charles Oliveira.
Lastly for Dana, Ilia Topuria did an interview a few minutes ago where he said the winner of this fight is going to determine whether he fights Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira on International Fight Week. Can you confirm that that's the stakes attached to this main event too?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Charles Oliveira against Ilia Topuria is I mean,
it's a good fight.
It's an unbelievable scrap.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable, but you think, unless Topuria does not look the same at 155, which is a possibility because they hit harder at 155. You know, there could be what if Charles is still there in the 3rd round, the 4th round? Ilia can't get him out of there. Then it becomes
2, I would say, top 5 pound-for-pound dressers.
Yeah.
UFC.
Absolutely. Well, it's so interesting, right? Because, you know, sometimes you can tell a lot about someone, the way that they dress a little bit. And you have Charles Oliveira, who, you know, is very flashy. He'll certainly be the more colorful guy in the suit. You know, he always comes with like a green or a red or something wild. You know, hair dyed, all that stuff. And then Ilia Topuria kind of like, you know, like your clean kind of normal type suits, but everything, you know, really well done.